Hey guys, so today I want to talk a little bit about religion and faith and how that played a part in it taking me so long to transition and be okay with who I am. I try to stay away from politics and religion and never talk about it because so many people get offended and defensive and it just causes arguments. But I get asked so many times how I came to terms with who I am as a transgender woman and my background, because a lot of my background is religion. I was an ordained minister and I went to a Baptist college, got a Christian ministry degree, and I spent so many years doing mission work. So it's a big part of who I am. And it's a big part of the reason I've had so much shame and guilt about who I am for my whole life. Really, the way I like to explain how I came to terms with myself is by sharing a story about my sister. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to back way up. When I was 4 or 5, I knew exactly who I was. But I didn't know that I wasn't alone. I didn't know that it was okay. And I definitely didn't know how to tell anybody. So, like most of us, I bottled it up, buried it deep inside, and ran as fast and far as I could. And I used distractions, like sports and religion, to keep my mind off of how I felt and act like it didn't exist. And I took that all the way through college. Ended up being married and trying to live a normal life and failed miserably. But going back to my sister, when I was in 5th grade, my parents were trying to have children. And my biological dad, he split before I was ever born, so I never met him. And my first stepdad was, for lack of a better term, an asshole, and it was a really bad situation. So then my next stepdad, the only dad I've ever known, the only one that's ever been a dad, he and my mom were trying to have children. And I was in 5th grade. I think I was around 10 years old. And they were having issues. My mom had 2 miscarriages and then my sister. And with my sister, during pregnancy there were problems. We were back and forth to the children's hospital and we found out that she would be born with a hypoplastic left heart, which means half of a heart, and spinal bifida. So there'd be a hole and like a mound on her back that was open. And that she would at best live for 3 hours. And when you hear that news, it breaks you to know that you're fixing to have a new amazing family member and they're going to be ripped right out of your life just as soon as you get to meet them. But something amazing happened when she was born. 3 hours passed and she was still with us. 24 hours passed. She was still with us. So we got to take her home. And we were told that hospice would be there when it came time. And it was a joyous time. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins were all there. We all got to spend 5 weeks, amazing weeks with my sister. And she was a happy baby. She smiled and giggled and would hold out her arms when you held her like she was telling you a story. And she had her favorite toys, so when she was laying on her stomach, because that's the only way she could lay because of her back, she would just smile and giggle. And I don't know, it brought so much joy to my heart, especially considering how much I was struggling with the fact that how could God let this happen? And the only time I remember her crying or getting fussy or seeming to be uncomfortable was one night when I was asleep and I heard her cry, which takes a lot because I'm a really deep sleeper. So to have a baby cry or wake me up just kind of showed my motherly instinct that I'll embrace. But when I woke up, my parents said, "Go back to sleep. It's okay. She's fine." So obviously, like a kid, okay. So I went back to sleep. And when I woke up the next morning, I heard crying, but it wasn't a baby cry. I went out in the living room found out that she had passed away. And it hurt so bad. I was never going to be able to hold her again. Never be able to say I love you or goodbye. It wasn't fair. And it broke me. It hurt so bad, and it still hurts. And I struggled so much with how God could let this happen, because religion teaches you predestination and that God makes you this way and he doesn't make you this way. And you always hear God doesn't make you gay and he doesn't make you trans and he doesn't do this, but at the same time he'll do this. And that made no sense to me, because I don't see God sitting up there and saying you're going to be born with cancer and you're going to be born with schizophrenia and you're going to be born with half of a heart. So I hated God at that moment more than ever in my life. And it wasn't until college that I reflected back on those moments and I realized she didn't cry. She was happy until that one night. And before she could really experience the pain and suffering of what was wrong with her body, God took her home. And that showed so much compassion and mercy. And my whole perspective changed. Especially when it came to myself and who I am and my struggle. Because I realized God didn't make me this way. God doesn't make mistakes. Science does. The doctors told my parents, you need to stop having or trying to have children. 2 miscarriages and then complications with my sister. Their DNA wasn't mixing. There was something wrong with the genetics. And it shows that things can happen. I was born with a girl brain and a boy body. It's okay. I'm transgender. There's nothing wrong with that. I have to love and accept who I am. And it took a long time, but I did. And to me, religion, people, groups, individuals, opinions, people's opinions don't matter. What matters is how you feel. Religion is a personal experience. It's a matter of the heart. It doesn't matter which religion it is. It's not your job to judge and hate people. It's your job to love and accept. And if you don't love and accept who you are, you definitely can't do that for somebody else. So I still believe in God, but I honestly haven't been back to a church since I transitioned. And a lot of that is due to the fact that there's so much hate and judgment and damnation and hellfire being preached. And it's disgusting, because the Bible teaches love and acceptance. And I don't understand where things have gone so wrong, especially in the past few years, especially this past year with the way the world is going, especially in the political arena. So again, I'm not going to talk about that because, again, it just causes arguments. But to boil it all down, you have to love and accept yourself and be yourself. It's the only way to be happy and to go through life. I look back at my relationship with my ex and my marriage, and I realized I was never able to truly love or appreciate her as a person because I hated myself. And it wasn't until she asked for a divorce that I really gave myself a chance. I felt like I had 2 options: kill myself and end the fight because I was tired of fighting, or continue to fight and finally embrace and love who I am. And I'm so happy I chose the second. And I couldn't be happier and I couldn't love myself more. And that's what I want to share. I'm sorry if I've offended anybody with this video or this message, because again, religion can cause so many issues, but it's my story. It's my journey. People ask, and I like to share. It's my opportunity to maybe open some hearts and some minds and let people really get in touch with who they are and love that. So thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you for watching. Thank you for allowing me to have this open, honest conversation. I don't like to edit videos because I want these moments to be authentic. I want it to seem like we're having this conversation in person. So if I pause and I'm gathering my thoughts and I look around and I cry, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me do that. And I'm sorry for my voice being so raspy. I'm getting over sinus congestion, so hopefully that will be gone soon. But I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you. And the only thing I ask of you, other than subscribe, is to love yourself and to be yourself and to not only accept who you are, but accept others and love them as well. So thanks again. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.